Paul George on the trade block. A major airline company trolls the Dallas Mavericks, and Steven Adams possibly losing his superpowers. All that and a lot more here on the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you do subscribe right here to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications. Donnie, how you doing? I am concerned about this first story. Steven Adams losing a battle against Mason Plumlee. We've got footage here to take a look at. I never thought ever that I would be saying that sentence.
Yeah, I've seen people say, and there's been a lot about Steven Adams basically being the strongest dude in the NBA. You see him sometimes; he just moves people around effortlessly. But I guess he met his match in Plumlee.
So watch what happens here. So we've got here. We'll go no audio here. So Adams and Plumlee get tied up a little bit here. I hate that they cut away, but here we go. And look, Adams tried to pick him up. You see that there? He went for the slam, and he accidentally winds up on his back. Adams does with Plumlee on top. Here, we'll get another angle of this. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Adams went for it. He went to lift him and was unsuccessful. Watch, we're going to get another view. Here it is. All right, so they tie up, and you think, okay, Plumlee's life is over. That's it. He's done. Here comes Adams. Goes for the lift, and Plumlee fights it off and actually winds up on up. Now, had everybody not swarmed, would Plumlee have maintained top control there? I don't know. Who knows what would have happened had the MMA fight there continued? Both players wound up getting kicked out. But I'm shocked that you saw him lift and he went to turn and it didn't happen. I don't know. Like, I feel like we just watched Goldberg, his streak get broken or something.
Well, at the end of the day, those are two grown men, right? And they're both 250 plus pound 7-footers or whatever, so it's not the craziest thing. It did look like Plumlee had him in a little bit of a headlock there too, so yeah. Maybe that's part of the reason why he was successful. But you know what? It didn't happen. Scrub the footage. Our boy Steven is still successful.
Yeah, that's right. It never happened. Never happened. In fact, you know what? Donnie? This gives me a great idea. Mason Plumlee is a free agent this summer. Steven Adams is a free agent this summer. Let's book a match between the two of them when they're both out of contract, just for like a day, when they're out at like July 1st. Don't sign your contract for a few days, and let's book them in an MMA match, and let's see what happens. Just when they're out of contract, then they can sign their next NBA deals and off they go. We need to make this happen.
They may be able to do it even when they have a contract, because there's at least one very vocal advocate of NBA players being allowed to fight. So
if they were both Boston Celtics, they would just make it happen in the Celtics locker room.
Let them fight. Just let them do it.
All right, we've got a major airline carrier that is now taking shots at the Dallas Mavericks, trying to earn some cheap points there. We'll take a look at that. But first, quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks Daily Fantasy Sports. They do a phenomenal job. You guys hear us talk about it all the time. You guys can go check out Prize Picks. Use the link in the description down below, and our promo code Bulletin. Get a guaranteed $50 on your first $5 played. Donnie, let's make a few picks here. Our Lakers, oh boy. Starting 6 games in 8 nights, 3 sets of back-to-backs. Austin Reeves badly needs a bounce back. Does he eclipse 11 rebounds and assists? Is that what we want to attack here?
I mean, that's a normal game for Austin.
So that is.
I think,
I think he seemed pretty pissed off after the last game. He really struggled. So I think we're going to get a bounce back from Austin. Meanwhile, I don't think our Lakers have anybody to stop Giannis. 48.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Unfortunately, I think he gets that. I think he gets that.
He's getting like 35 at least.
And then our old friend Kyle Kuzma, I think, will have revenge on the mind as well. So I will take him more than 23 points, rebounds, and assists. I think that he'll get that done as well. If you guys were to check that out, $10 entry fee, $50 win. If we're right on all of those, use that link in the description code in the description down below, and then our code Bulletin, and get a guaranteed $50 on your first $5 played. All right. Donnie, I did a video earlier today about Patrick Dumont, Mavs owner, and his absolutely insane, nonsensical ramblings about why he traded Luka Doncic.
Nice.
The funny thing being that his reasoning was the inverse of Nico Harrison's reasoning, which makes me wonder about the communication right now within the Mavs. But look, the Mavs are down bad, so bad that even Southwest Airlines, who right now is in the midst of a public outcry over their decision to no longer allow bags to fly free.
Yeah, they know what they're doing, trying to get some brownie points. They know
exactly.
What they're doing. Knock it off.
That's it. Southwest Air puts on Instagram, it's not like we traded Luka. They're down so bad. They said the only thing we could do is take shots at the Mavs and see if we can earn some points that way.
They know exactly what they're doing. I will not fall for this. I will not be tricked into pleading in their defense. That's like so out of left field though. Like where's their home base? Are they like located in Dallas or something? Like that's like so random though. And it's also like a month old. It's just so random.
They are indeed. They're based out of Dallas.
Okay, that makes sense.
Southwest is based out of Dallas. They're out of Dallas Love Field, which is actually a really nice airport to fly out of. But yeah, that's where they're located. That's Southwest home base. That's their hub. Yeah, this is cheap heat. That's what it's like. It's like when you go into, if you're again another wrestling analogy, you go into a city and you shout out that city's sports teams. Right? You go into Orlando and you say, hello, Orlando, welcome into WWE Monday Night Raw. Isn't it great? Isn't it a great time for the Orlando Magic right now? And then you get the cheers, right? And everybody around cheers and all that. And you get the cheap, or you can get the cheap heat the other way, where you can say, where you could take a shot like The Rock did in Sacramento when he sang a song about the Lakers beating the Kings in May. And that got the whole crowd booing him and hating The Rock. That's what the Southwest is doing here. They're getting the easy points here, trying to get people back on their side. And it's not happening. I want my bags to fly for free, damn it.
I just got to say, I'm sure that you've got some people that understood the references, but I don't.
You don't.
I'm not a wrestling guy.
That's okay. I was a
I kind of understood what you were saying, but like I couldn't put a, situation to it.
It was the golden age of wrestling that I came up in. Well, I guess technically not the golden age, but the Attitude Era. Oh my God. It was so great. Nothing's been like that ever since. But anyway, we also need to talk a little bit about Paul George here.
Yep.
So Paul George, the 76ers, we know their season is over. Now Shams Charania reports that 76ers Paul George is consulting with doctors this week on treatment options for groin and knee injuries. Now, remember, Paul George has stopped podcasting for a bit so that he can focus on winning a championship with the 76ers. Right?
I totally forgot about that.
The 76ers right now, which that, like I said it, that was mean to 76ers fans. For Paul George to say, hey, I'm going to really focus in and try to help us win games. The only thing you can do by winning games right now, if you're Philly, is do damage. You can only hurt yourself. You look right now at Tankathon, hallelujah, the 76ers have now dropped to the 5th spot in the draft lottery, which helps them out actually because their pick is top 6 protected. So if it falls 7, it goes to Oklahoma City. So if a team jumps them and they continue to have the 5th worst record in the NBA, they still would keep their pick. Whereas if they're at the 6th spot and a team jumps over them, well, then they lose their pick. So there's a lot riding on Philadelphia losing games right now. And so with all of that being said, again, Paul George helping them win games would have been insane and nonsense. This is the much better. Hey, Paul, whatever you've got bothering you, your groin, your knee, anything else, let's take care of that right now. Don't bother trying to play through it. Let's drop as many games as possible. Try Tyrese Maxey. Did you stub your toe? Take a seat right over there on the bench, and let's go ahead and rev up the tank.
Yeah, I wouldn't. The way their season's gone, I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow, some way, fell below 5. Is that possible for them to like fall to like 10, regardless?
For them to fall? Oh, you mean for that many people to jump over them? Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
You could have multiple teams jump up in the lottery, I suppose. That's possible.
They need to lose more to like offset that chance, because I wouldn't be surprised if that wound up happening to them. But yeah, PG is absolutely like, yeah, that I couldn't help but laugh because I totally forgot about that. Like, he's so out of touch with the reality with what this team is, because there's no way they're going the distance this season. But next season, maybe that could be a thing, but who knows if this team even looks the same next year.
Hey, now I don't know if you saw, but Cooper Flagg turned his ankle today, but
did he?
He did. But I'll tell you this. If the 76ers luck into a Cooper Flag or any of these other guys that are top of the
Ace
draft class,
Bailey.
Ace Bailey, sure. Yeah, you get any of those guys, that would be a hell of a silver lining for them. In fact, let's hit the button here, Donnie. Let's see how kind fate is to the 76ers today. Let's see. Oh no.
Where do they fall? Where do they fall?
Oh no.
Oh, 7.
They
Oh,
went
see,
to
that's what I was talking about.
They dropped just low. Two teams jumped them, and it was oh my God. Are you kidding
New Orleans
me?
gets the number 1 pick. Of course.
No, but look, it was the Nets and the Spurs.
Ah, okay.
The Nets and the Spurs jump up.
Yeah.
Like Wemby needs more help.
Yeah. The reason I said the Pelicans though is because just like when they traded AD, they're gonna mess around and trade Zion, and they're gonna get the number 1 pick again.
That's right. They're gonna replace Zion with Cooper Flag. But in this, I mean, this is the nightmare right now. This is the nightmare scenario for the 76ers. Not only do you have the season from hell, but you also give the 7th pick. I mean, that's the worst case. You give the 7th pick to OKC, who by all means does not need any help.
Just try it again. There's no way. It can't happen again. If it happens again, they're cursed.
They're cursed. Oh no. Portland got the number 1 pick. They got jumped. Toronto jumps up. Portland jumps up 8 spots, and Philly gives their pick to OKC in that run.
Portland with a meteoric leap. Oh,
wow.
They had a 4% chance to get number 1.
Blazers fans would be thrilled up there in rainy Portland if they were able to get that. They get that done. But the bottom line, Paul George with these injuries, and he's consulting with doctors and everything like that. The right answer for him is just to call it. Just call it a season. He said, I haven't been the healthiest, so it's just been putting a ton of work in through my body, getting my body as healthy as possible, and to keep focus on obviously being here and trying to turn things around, and the full focus on trying to get this team together. George said on the decision to pause his podcast. Now, again, get the team together. That's fine. But the best thing for the 76ers right now is to lose as many games as they possibly can. So I think this news is going to be followed very shortly with the news that Paul George is being shut down for the remainder of the season, which absolutely should be the case. I don't think the 76ers, I think 5, the 5th worst record, is as low as they can get. They're not catching the Pelicans. They're not catching the Hornets. I don't care what Zion does from here on out. The 76ers aren't catching those teams. But at the very least, don't screw things up and accidentally wind up with the 6th worst record or anything like that. You don't want to wind up. You want to at least have the cushion of one team jumping you and you're still okay. You don't want to be put in a spot where one team jumps up and you lose your pick, or even that you're like the 7th worst record or something like that, which they're in danger of doing if they accidentally win too many games here.
That would be absolutely brutal if that happened to them. But yeah, I was very high on them going into the season, but unfortunately for them, they've been dealing with all these injuries nonstop since the jump, and it just doesn't seem like it's their year. And I think their best case would be PG, don't come back. Like, just take your time, get fully healthy, and B, just take your time, get fully healthy, and we'll just regroup next year.
Now, there's some rumblings out there that maybe the 76ers could look to trade Paul George. Now, these are not super concrete or anything like that. But Donnie, after the season he had, I can't imagine there's a lot of teams that are going to be, fighting to trade for Paul George. Like, there's not going to be this mad dash to trade for him when he's got 3 years remaining on his deal, $51.6 million, $54 million, and then $56.5 million on a player option when Paul George is already 34 years old.
I'll do you one better. I don't think there's a single team in the league that will be bidding for Paul George's services. I don't think there will be. When you factor in the age,
he'll be 35 in May, by the way. 35 in May.
Yeah, exactly. It's a couple months away. He's basically 35. Age, injury history, and the long-term nature of that salary, making a max as well. Like, that's going to be one of the worst deals in the NBA, I believe. So I can't see another team. The only team that I thought was crazy enough to try to get him was the Warriors. And that's only because the Warriors were trying to get literally anybody. Any star. Any start, going all the way back to the offseason, which I understand. It seems like it's rejuvenated stuff. He's been playing amazingly since they got Jimmy Butler. But otherwise, I don't think anybody should be trying to get PG.
Yeah, I'd agree. Just the contract and the the return on investment, the chance that you actually get a positive return on investment is so small. I mean, he's got a $56.5 million player option when he'll be 37 years old.
Yeah, that's
like
no.
That's not a good spot to be. And I understand why the 76ers got him. On paper, he's a great fit with Joel Embiid, but there was an injury risk, and the injuries have hit them full force. I don't think even let's say the 76ers, the basketball gods smile upon them. They get the number 1 pick and they say, you know what? Forget it. We're going to rebuild around Jared McCain, Cooper Flagg. Let's jettison Joel Embiid, jettison Paul George, and it'll be Cooper Flagg. It'll be Jared McCain, Tyrese Maxey. That's our starting point for the next iteration. I think they would have a tough time moving both guys. I think both guys would be difficult to move to. And Embiid is a former MVP. Paul George was at one point, I believe he finished 3rd in the MVP voting. That was a number of seasons ago. That was back when he was with OKC. But still, I think they may be stuck on these contracts. And look, if they have good seasons next year, that may not be the worst thing for the set. Like, they could potentially win immediately and make a run next year. But there's just too many health concerns, and that's a lot of money tied up with 2 players that you can have zero faith that they're going to stay healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I was pretty high on them, and it's just been unfortunate. But the scary thing is I don't project for it to change all too much next year. Like, I'm saying they should regroup and all that stuff. That's all good, but I don't anticipate it changes all too much next year. And Embiid is somebody else who all the same things I said about PG largely apply to Embiid despite the higher pedigree with him. Because I think he's an old 30. I mean, the injuries he's had are just relentless, and he's already in a position where he probably can't play back-to-backs and things like that. What does that look like? Is he going to just perennially be playing 50 games a year from this point? Like, I don't know. And is that enough? Like, they're putting a lot on Tyrese otherwise, and you're going to need Tyrese to go to another level with his scoring and efficiency and all that stuff. And is it possible? Sure. But their window is going to close really soon with this team. If it's not already closed, like it's not, I don't really know what else they can really do. And then you look at that contract on Embiid, it's worse. He's got a $70 million deal 4 years from now. Like, I can't in good faith say that teams are going to be really trying to get him unless somehow, some way, by good graces, he's able to turn into somebody that's like an Iron Man, able to play 65 plus games a year and make it into the postseason, because even when he was doing that, he wasn't making it healthy into the postseason. So, like, no, it's just a weird spot to be in with him and PG as well.
It's a really weird spot. And unfortunately, I don't think this iteration of the 76ers is ever going to fulfill their potential. And I'll tell you the problem. Even if, Donnie, let's say we get to October, November, the 76ers look good. Joel Embiid looks good. Paul George looks good. We will constantly be waiting for the other shoe to drop. We'll be constantly waiting. Hey, when's the injury coming? It's coming. When's it going to hit?
Yeah.
It's coming. Right. We're going to know that. And so that's now going to be the challenge for the 76ers moving forward. But in the meantime, Paul George, rest up, stay home, do your best to drop as many games as possible, and pray to the basketball gods that they do not finish your season with yet another punch to the gut and take away your draft pick. Everybody give us your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about Southwest Airlines trolling the Dallas Mavericks? You trying to get cheap points that way? Also, your thoughts on Steven Adams. Are his superpowers diminishing? Is that what happened against Mason Plumlee?
Didn't happen.
It did not. We're deleting the footage. And then your thoughts on Paul George. Should he indeed just be sent home at this point to rest up with the 76ers? Don't forget to subscribe right here to the channel as well. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.